Hi, Jenny here. Today we are going to make bacon in the oven. I usually make my bacon on the stovetop. I've had people tell me, why don't you just make it in the oven? It's easier. And so I thought, okay, I've heard other people say that too. So today I figured I would try that. So let's get started. I have the oven preheating to 400 degrees. I have a package of thick sliced bacon. I like the thick stuff. So again, depending on if you have thick bacon or thin bacon, will depend on how long you're going to want to cook it. Obviously the thin will cook a little faster, and also depending on how crispy you like your bacon will also depend on how long you want to cook it. So I have a cookie sheet here, and I've just lined it with some parchment paper. It'll help me clean up a little bit easier, help with the mess. And then we're just going to lay each strip of bacon down, making sure that they don't touch. About it. Unfortunately, a whole package of bacon doesn't fit on one tray, so we have some extra pieces. That's okay. We'll see how this bacon turns out and how crispy it is, if I need to adjust the time or anything, and then we'll cook the last of it. In the meantime, I'm going to put the bacon back in the refrigerator because otherwise it gets kind of all limp and soft, and I don't care for that. So we're going to put that in the fridge. This is going to take about 15 minutes-ish, depending on, again, how crispy you like your bacon, how thick your bacon is. Because it's going to be that much of time, that's why I thought too, I'll put the bacon back in the refrigerator for now, until I'm ready for it. The oven is preheated, so we will now cook this for 10 to 15 minutes. So we'll check it at that 10-minute mark, see what it looks like. If we think we want to take it out yet, we'll let it go. Okay. Oh, there we go. I did it for 12 minutes. We're halfway between 10 and 15. Let's see. That's what it looks like. Still looking kind of raw to me, not as crisp as I would like it, so I'm going to put it back in. Again, this was thick bacon, so it's going to take a little bit longer. You could flip it over too if you want to, but I don't think that would do much. It's still doing okay. So let's go for another 5 and check it then. Alright. Smells really good. This looks much better. Ooh, gotta be careful because now we got all the bacon grease in there. But there we go. You see it? Ah. So the bacon has shrunk up a little bit. Looks pretty good. So then, take some paper towel. I usually do 2 layers of it because of bacon is pretty greasy. Put that on a plate, and we will take our tongs and scoop these off. Put them over here to cool off a little bit and soak up some of the grease. I had mentioned how I had a couple extra pieces of bacon left to cook. So what I did was just like when I cook in the pan, I prefer to pour the grease off and then put my next bacon in, so in between batches. So I have less grease, so it's not just cooking and sitting in the grease. I also think it cooks, for me, it cooks better that way. It gets a little bit more crisp. So I also have another package of bacon because we like bacon in this house. and it gets eaten up. So when we buy bacon, we always buy 2 packages. I cooked the other batch of bacon for 17 minutes, so I'm going to start this one at 15 minutes and go from there and see again if I need it a little bit longer or shorter, depending. Now this is the second batch, and on this paper, I don't think the grease on there is going to make that much of a difference or anything, but again, don't want it to burn. One of the last times I cooked it on the stove in a pan, I had smoke going, and I'm like, oh, I hope the smoke detector doesn't end up going off. My husband ended up opening the door, but we were all good. It was good. So here is the cooked bacon. Let's see how crisp it is, or not. Not bad. This is the way most people like their bacon. It is cooked on both sides. It is a little bit crisp, I can see, feel on the bottom. But it's cooked all the way through. Looks good. The other thing I like to do with bacon is I take another piece of paper towel and fold it over a couple times and blot the grease. Just because for me, again, I don't care for all that grease on there. Problem with doing bacon in the oven using a hot pad is that I'm going to dip my thumb in the grease. So here's the second round of bacon. Looking good. I did have it go for an extra minute, so 18 minutes. And it looks pretty much the same as the other. There's not any extra, like a whole lot of extra grease or anything. Which I guess is good that I emptied the grease then too before cooking this. I wasn't thinking about that otherwise there would be even more grease in the pan. And again, you don't want that falling over or anything, getting in your oven or getting anywhere that to make a big mess. So that's good. And we'll do that one more time and I'll finish off my bacon. But in the meantime, as I was thinking too, as far as even inside the oven, look again. My husband cleaned the oven a couple months ago, so it's still looking clean. The oven still looks clean, so that's one of the benefits, one of the bonuses of doing bacon in the oven. Even without having a covering on top of it, I don't see any spatters inside the oven. The oven still looks clean. Whereas a lot of times when you cook it on the stovetop, that's part of the process of our making bacon is the cleanup, and because it spatters all over and you have like the whole stovetop and up on top. And I always remove my towels from in front because it spatters and would go on those, so we take those off when we're making bacon. So that's a nice feature, that's a nice benefit of being able to cook this in the oven. I will try to show you the draining of the grease. I have a coffee mug here in the sink to drain it off on, and you want, if you're going to do this, you want something that's not going to melt in the heat of the grease. And I have this close corner of the pan. The parchment paper is not as folded or anything. It's a pretty good little like funnel area. So I am just going from that. All right, so let's taste a piece of this bacon and see what I think of that. Oh yeah. Well, it's crunchier than I thought it would be, seeing as it seems still kind of flimsy. It doesn't look as crisp as I usually make them. Mine almost look kind of half burnt. And that's all, but this is very crisp. This is very good. So, I'm gonna talk with my mouth full. And it's bacon. You can't have just one bite. Oh, it's so good. Thoughts? It tastes the same as if I made it in a pan, so that's good. Another bonus is that it didn't mess up the oven, like I said, so that's good. So it makes for less cleanup time. I don't have to, clean up, I said, the whole stovetop. That always took an extra good 20 minutes or so of making sure that was all cleaned. Also clean up for afterwards. Like I mentioned, I drained the grease off of my pan. You don't have to do that if you don't want to. If you just let the pan sit out, the grease will harden up, and then you can just take that parchment paper and fold it all up, roll it up, and throw it away. So that makes for easier cleanup. That way, also cleaning your cookie pan, you don't have that to clean up. I guess if you had your stovetop pan, you'd also have to clean that. But the cookie sheet really shouldn't have any grease on there, or minimal, so that is also easier cleanup than having the pan full of some grease. Maybe I can wipe that out too with paper towel before washing it. But so that's good. Time wise, takes about the same amount of time. I didn't find that to be any less. I had heard you could do 2 pans of bacon at the same time. I didn't want to try that for my first time doing this, just in case. I just wanted to do one pan at a time and see how that turned out. It turned out well enough. I would be confident enough to do 2 pans at a time and think it'll still turn out the same. So that's good. So in reality, like I said, we always make 2 pounds of bacon. I guess depending if you're only making a couple pieces of bacon or something, that might be easier to do it stovetop and quicker as opposed to heating up the whole oven. But for doing this amount of bacon, I found this to be, very easy. It's a good way of doing it. I think maybe doing this this way forward, cooking it this way. The other positive of cooking bacon in the oven is that you don't have to watch it. You can put it in there and you have your timer set, and you can do whatever else you need to do. If you're making breakfast, making eggs and toast and whatever, you don't have to watch your bacon. You don't have to be flipping it over and paying attention to it. This is kind of a almost set it and forget it type of thing until it's done. So that's also a good thing. And I don't have any smoke coming out. I suppose if it did burn in there, just like anything else in the oven, it could provide smoke and have your smoke detectors go off, but that did not happen. But this bacon, half of it is for eating and half of it is for a recipe I'm going to make. So I'm going to go enjoy this other piece of my bacon. Let me know in the comments if you make bacon in the oven or on the stovetop, and which way you prefer it. So I'm going to finish enjoying my bacon. You guys keep it positive. Go make it a great day. Bye-bye. Take 642.